Good morning, ICC, and hello to you at Lincoln College. So we are going to study Interpol this week, and we'll probably move on to the African Union too if there's time. The African Union, I never thought to do it in this class before, but it's in the curriculum for Lincoln College. So ICC students, you're going to get this. The benefit of this as well. I've found some pretty good resources, and I think we'll have a good lesson about it when we get there. But first, we've got to get to Interpol. And this is probably the most global of all intergovernmental organizations, all international organizations that you could possibly have. So there are, this is a PDF, this isn't a slideshow. So you have Interpol. The idea for it come to the fore in 1914, over 100 years ago, at the first International Criminal Police Congress that was held in Monaco. Interpol was officially created in 1923 on the initiative of Dr. Johannes Schober, which is this guy. He was president of the Vienna Police, and the organization became known as Interpol in 1956. They want their mission statement, they're connecting police for a safer world. And they're preventing and fighting crime through enhanced cooperation and innovation on police and security matters. And we're going to learn all about that. I'm on Interpol's handy dandy YouTube channel. Here you go.
Interpol is a truly global organization working to turn back crime. The journey began 100 years ago. In 1914, at the first International Criminal Police Congress in Monaco, an idea was born. If police could cooperate internationally, the world would be safer. Plans were interrupted by the First World War, but in 1923, Interpol was officially created in Vienna by 20 countries. Special units were set up to handle fingerprints, drugs, fugitives, fake money, and forged passports. These remain core activities today. To facilitate cooperation, each member country agreed to establish an Interpol office known today as a National Central Bureau. In 1935, an independent radio network gave police a private communications channel. But with the advent of the Second World War, the organization ceased to function. After the war, Interpol started rebuilding with a new headquarters in Paris and created its emblematic tool, the Red Notice, to alert member countries to wanted persons. Red notices are vital for tracking down international fugitives and were the first in a color-coded series of alerts. Interpol's membership grew steadily as more countries saw the need for police cooperation. Cooperation with the United Nations goes from strength to strength. UN recognition in 1971 reinforced Interpol's status, while the organization...
Now, it's important to note that even though they work with the UN recognizes them, they are not a part of the United Nations organization. They're run independently.
The nation's role in combating terrorism is highlighted through a joint Interpol-UN Special Notice created in 2005 and a UN Security Council resolution from 2014. In 1982, a special commission was set up to ensure the organization's processing of data respected the rights of individuals. In 1989, Interpol relocated its General Secretariat headquarters from Paris to Lyon and went on to open
Still in
7
France.
regional bureaus as well as representative offices at the United Nations and the European Union.
Also from Boston to Los Angeles.
The terrorist attacks of 9/11 marked a new era of terrorism and a turning point for Interpol. In response, a command and coordination center was opened to provide round-the-clock support to member countries, while a global communication system called I-24/7 allowed police to exchange messages securely and to access Interpol's databases in real time. A database of stolen and lost travel documents was also created, helping to detect criminals trying to cross borders. Databases are at the heart of Interpol's work, holding records on stolen items from vehicles to works of art and crime data such as fingerprints and DNA profiles. From this time, Interpol became more operational, deploying response teams to assist national police forces in the field. Law enforcement operations target the wide range of crimes the organization is actively fighting today. Crimes against children, trafficking in human beings, counterfeit goods, illicit medicines, drugs, environmental crime, tracking down fugitives, and more. Interpol now has 190 member countries, all committed to making the world a safer place. But
Slightly
crimes keep
smaller than
evolving, and today's new threat is cybercrime. The Interpol Global Complex
terms
for
of membership.
Innovation in Singapore will better support the world's police in tackling the challenges that lie ahead. Fighting crime could be much more effective if the world's citizens could play a part. The Turn Back Crime campaign aims to make this a reality as Interpol looks to the future.
Certainly makes it seem very dramatic. I'm sure some of it is, but if we've learned nothing else, most of this is just bureaucracy. So, preventing and fighting crime through enhanced cooperation and innovation on police and security matters. And this is a pretty vital part in keeping countries safe. So the organization is called, its official name, ICPO, Interpol. So ICPO stands for International Criminal Police Organization. The French OIPC, Organisation Internationale de Police Criminelle. Same thing. Here's its emblem right here. It's been in use since 1950. It's got the globe. It symbolizes the worldwide activities of Interpol. The olive branch on either side of the globe symbolizes peace. Interpol below the globe in the center of the olive branch. So there's a vertical sword, as you can see right here, above the globe, which symbolizes police action. I don't know how they come up with this stuff, any organization. The UN, the EU, all this. I don't know how they come up with these symbols and what they're supposed to mean, but that's besides the point. The abbreviation OIPC, ICPO, and the scales of justice. This isn't new. I mean, the scales of justice have been a thing forever. The flag. Here is the flag. So it's been in use since 1950. It's light blue. The emblem of Interpol is in the center. There are 4 lightning flashes that symbolize telecommunication and speed in police action. So take it for what it's worth. But all organizations have these things. So it's governed by these 2 gentlemen, Senior Vice President Jong Yang and Secretary General Jurgen Stock. So Jurgen Stock was appointed to a second term as Interpol's Secretary General last year, 2019. I just think it's important, that you are familiar with these figures, that you kind of know what they sound like, look like. So this is a statement he gave, a short little statement on the Kenya hotel attacks last year.
The attack on the Riverside Hotel complex in Nairobi is a stark and terrible reminder of the terrorism threat around the world. Kenyan authorities have pledged to do everything they can to identify and bring to justice those behind this horrific attack. Interpol is fully supporting these efforts, and at the request of the Kenyan Chief of Police, I have deployed a specialist team to Nairobi to provide on-the-ground support to national investigators. The team will provide expertise on explosives, firearms, disaster victim identification, biometrics, and cyber analysis to decrypt seized digital devices, as well as photo and video analysis. We do not know yet where the investigation will lead, but experience has shown us that it can be just one piece of information which can prove vital in connecting the dots, and that could come from anywhere in the world. On behalf of the global law enforcement community, I extend my sympathies to those who have lost family members and friends in the attack. And it is also on behalf of the global law enforcement community that Interpol remains committed to providing its fullest support to Kenya and any member country targeted by terrorists.
So the Secretary General here is a law and order man from way back. He was first elected as Secretary General in 2014. Again, as I said, re-elected last year to serve a second 5-year term. So he has 40 years, more than, of policing experience, more than 40 years. So Secretary General Stock wants to improve core business services to police, establish strong partnerships, embrace innovation, strengthen governance structures and mechanisms. All good things. And he's established these programs to guide Interpol's policing activities, counterterrorism, organized and emerging crime, cybercrime. If you want a job right now, I don't know what's going to be around after the pandemic, but cybersecurity, it's like 99, 100% employment rate. You send in an application. Those guys need butts in seats right now. So, free tip of the day. So he oversaw the creation of a specialized task force to review red notice requests. We'll get to red notice requests in a few minutes. So on and so forth. So he was vice president of Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office for 10 years. And he's a German. He holds a PhD in law. So pretty impressive resume, if you ask me. So yeah, he was an officer in the state of Hesse, which is in Germany. Scientific research in criminology. That's 1978 to 1996. Attorney, deputy head of the unit combating economic crime, president of the University of Applied Police Science in Saxony-Anhalt. Well, all the way up. And yeah, there you go. So the other gentleman, the senior vice president of Interpol, is Jong Yang. So Jong Yang, here he is. His election is South Korean gentleman, another law and order man. Really pissed the Russians off with his election. We'll talk.
Your Excellencies, ministers from Interpol member countries.
No matter, of course, what the nationality of the president is, it's not affecting Interpol's neutrality and the independence of our organization.
So, I mean, this covered it really. The Kremlin lost out on getting their candidate in as the president of the organization. So this is the leadership of Interpol. There's also a General Assembly. You saw Jurgen, no, you didn't. In the last video, Jong Yang, you kind of saw what the General Assembly looked like there. But all the delegates from the member countries are there. They sit in it. Interpol's it's its supreme governing body. It meets yearly. It'll take all the major decisions that affect general policy, all the resources needed for international cooperation, working methods, and finances and programs of activities. And let's see if I can't find you something in a little more detail about the General Assembly. Okay, there is something, but I jumped the gun a little bit. So Jong Yang has quite an extensive resume too. Head of anti-crimes, head of the investigation division, section chief, intelligence division of the South Korean police, all the way up, assistant secretary, information and police monitoring in the office of the president of South Korea. In 2011, he comes to Interpol and rose up very, very quickly. And here he is speaking at the 87th General Assembly in Dubai. So you can kind of get a sense of what happens there, what goes on.
Your Highness, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of the Emirate of Dubai. Your Highness, Sheikh Said bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Interior of the United Arab Emirates. Your Highness, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers from Interpol member countries, Interpol Secretary General, Interpol Executive Committee members, President and board members of the Interpol Foundation, distinguished chiefs of police, heads of Interpol National Central Bureaus, delegates from Interpol member countries worldwide, observers, guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, good morning, bonjour, buenos dias. It is an honor as the Senior Vice President of Interpol to address this 87th General Assembly session here in Dubai today. Your Highness, ruler of the Emirate of Dubai, we are privileged that International Police Cooperation's largest event of 2018 is being hosted in this miraculous city. and Interpol is
Okay, I know one of you are going to ask. The Highness he keeps referencing is Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, and he is the Vice President and Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of the Emirate of Dubai.
receiving the very best of Emirate hospitality. Shukran Jazila. Dubai has also kept growing in its stature as a world-class city, which is even symbolized by the world's tallest building here. And Dubai Airport lies to becoming the world's best airport for international traffic, underlines this city's role in helping that on the world map truly connect today. Establishing global connectivity is something Interpol also strives for among law enforcement worldwide. And thus, it is befitting that Interpol's membership converges here today to set the next course of its work in addressing transnational crime and terrorism. The General Assembly's significance is paramount to Interpol's existence. Through it, the formation of our annual plans, governance policies, or even constitutional amendments are all made by you, Interpol's member countries. And when Interpol was recently faced with an institutional challenge, it was the Constitution and its provisions that led us through. It was a reminder that an organization's strength, after all, lies in establishing governance norms to lead itself through even unexpected scenarios. I am referring to the sudden resignation of the organization's president last month. As Interpol's constitution spells out clear provisions for such an emergency situation, the Executive Committee, along with the Secretary General, were able to ensure that its governance and the administration remained fully operational without disruption. At the time, as the Senior Vice President on the Executive Committee and in conformity with the rules, I temporarily took the place of the President to assume his duties. Highness and Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as this General Assembly session begins, it is important to remember that what we do here can be instrumental in supporting those at the front lines of policing. In the age of unprecedented information exchange, police all over the world are increasingly facing new challenges. Interpol must evolve to strengthen its global early warning system by means of policing capabilities to detect and prevent the flows of transnational crime. We are in a swiftly transforming.
Okay, so this isn't working too well. I turned on the subtitles because I was having a hard time understanding him. He does speak English. It is one of the languages, but that is, well, all the time I've got for now. Come back in a second for part 2 on Interpol.